What's that? The regular meeting of the Annapolis City Council on Monday, October 14th, 2024 will be called to order at 7 p.m. At this time, please join us for the invocation given by Alderman Pindell Charles.
It was supposed to be Huntley.
Oh, is it you?
I think I love.
Okay, Harry, thank you. Followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Harry.
I have an excerpt from one of favorite poem of mine by Wendell Berry. So our invocation today. Ask the questions that have no answers. Invest in the millennium. Plant sequoias. Say that your main crop is the forest that you did not plant, that you will not live to harvest. Say that the leaves are harvested when they have rotted into the mold. Call that prophet. Prophecy such returns. Put your faith in the 2 inches of humus that will build under the trees every 1,000 years.
Amen. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderman Huntley?
Here.
Alderwoman O'Neill? Present. Alderman Pindell Charles?
Here.
Alderman Finlayson?
Present.
Alderman Shandell Meyer?
Present.
Alderman Gay?
Here.
Alderman Savage?
Present.
Alderman Arnett?
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the first item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
This time I entertain a motion to approve the agenda to remove reappointment of Robert Ruby to Building Board of Appeals, reappointment of John Schwartz, Jay Schwartz, to Building Appeals, and Task Force to Study Residential Maritime Vessels on first reader, fund to authorization of Housing Authority of the City of Annapolis. Could I get a motion, please?
Second.
Second, Alderman Gay.
Just for clarity, you're not removing R4424, you're adding R4424. That wasn't stated.
Yes,
so.
we're adding it, yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that?
Yeah, just to,
Alderman Savage?
can we make a note that the appointments be postponed until the first meeting in November?
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Alderman Finlayson, did you have any comments on the maritime vessels?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad it's being pulled off the agenda tonight. I think it's, we had already begun a discussion to try to come to a good place, a compromise. So I think we don't need the task force, actually. And the fact is that if we create a task force now, our terms will be up by the time it comes to the full body. So I think I would much prefer that we continue the discussion and try to come to some resolution outside of the legislative process.
Or we move through the task force rapidly too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Alderman Gay?
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Just for clarity on this, will there be a deadline so that the resolution comes back before the council? Is this being pulled, until in reference to the House barge resolution, is it being postponed for 90 days, or I think there should be some sort of timeline?
We're not introducing it. It'll be introduced if we get it tweaked up for the next council meeting. That's the plan.
Thank you so much.
And I'm sure they'll build in some parameters to make sure that we get it addressed, I'd say, right? Okay, all those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is ceremonial items, beginning with proclamations. ID 15324, Proclamation Suicide Prevention Month, October 14th.
Alderman Gay, would you be interested in coming up on this one? Yep, please. Thank you.
Hello. happy to read this and talk about the incredibly important work of spreading awareness as it relates to mental health, and particularly in the African American community, a community where there are some stereotypes related to receiving this care. So proud of the work that you all are doing and continue to spread that message in the city. So City of Annapolis proclamation, whereas suicide is a major public health issue that affects individuals, families, and communities nationwide, causing immeasurable pain and suffering. And whereas the City of Annapolis is committed to increasing awareness of suicide prevention, fostering understanding and support for those who struggle with mental health challenges, and promoting community-wide efforts to address the critical issues. And whereas the stigma associated with mental health conditions and seeking help often prevents individuals from receiving the support they need, emphasizing the importance of creating an open and supportive environment. And whereas National Suicide Prevention Month is observed every September to raise awareness, educate the public, and provide resources to those affected by suicide, with the goal of reducing the incidence of suicide through prevention efforts. And whereas organizations such as Black People Die by Suicide Too and local mental health services play a vital role in providing resources, support, and education to prevent suicide and assist those affected by it. And whereas it is essential to encourage community involvement and support for those who are struggling with mental health challenges, to promote mental well-being, and to ensure that everyone has access to help they need. And whereas every member of the community contributes to the prevention of suicide by being aware of warning signs, offering support, and fostering a culture of empathy and understanding. Whereas the City of Annapolis recognizes the importance of raising awareness about mental health and the need to reduce stigma associated with the mental illness. It's signed by the mayor of the City of Annapolis, Gavin Buckley, proclaiming September as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
Just held an event in Robinwood this other day. I want to thank these guys for the amazing job that they did there. So thank you for bringing the love to the community, and I'm sure you have a couple of words to say about it.
Yes, just want to thank the City of Annapolis for the opportunity to go into Robinwood and share our lived experiences. I'm a person with lived experience, so I am a suicide attempt survivor, and I lost my 13-year-old cousin to suicide. So it is very important that we are providing resources to the community, and I serve as the co-founder and executive director of Black People Die by Suicide Too.
Hello, thank you to the City of Annapolis. My name is Jordan Scott. I am also the co-founder of Black People Die by Suicide Too. I'm a person who has been hospitalized for suicidal thoughts 5 times. So as you can see, both of us, suicide plays a significant role in our story, and we want to help others who are struggling.
Right, we're going to stand out here for... City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. Petitions, reports, and communications, beginning with update from the mayor.
Right. So good evening, and happy Columbus Day, and happy Indigenous People Day. While this is a state and federal holiday, but not a city day off, we want to acknowledge the contributions of Italian Americans and Native peoples to our culture and our amazing community. So I think we need a little round of applause for all that. Today was the last day of the Annapolis Boat Shows. It was a big success, welcoming tens of thousands to Annapolis. The organisers of the show worked closely with the city departments, including Harbour Master, DPW, Police and Fire, OEM, Transportation, and staff in the City Manager and Mayor's office. I want to thank all the staff for doing their part to ensure the event runs smoothly. This is the first meeting since I've been, so let's thank you on that, Boat Show. This is our first meeting since I participated with the delegation to visit Sweden with officials from the state of Maryland, Anne Arundel County, and the Resilience Authority and the City of Annapolis. I'd like to acknowledge and thank Matthew Earl and Patrick Danker, who funded the trip through their respective foundations. It's wonderful to have folks in our community committed to advancing these issues for the benefit of our residents. I think they learned firsthand, and they came on this trip, this is how committed they were, and they learned firsthand lessons that we brought back and hope to bring them back to the City Council for recognition later this year. I believe there is no substitute for experiential learning to take in complex topics of resilience and the intersection of environmental nationalism and happiness, which Sweden does really, really well. Every decision they make seems to be made around a happiness metric. I always wonder, here we have so much choice, we have so much money, we have so much space, but sometimes I wonder, are we always happy? And it's really funny to be in a country like that and realize that, people think about, does this make my neighbor happy? Will this make you happy? It was really an eye-opener for all of us. In Sweden, they take great pride in initiatives to rethink trash and recycling, transportation infrastructure, and how their society works to make a better tomorrow. They sorted out long ago that Swedes are going to pay for it in some way, either upfront in infrastructure costs or afterwards in loss of life and property, as we most recently witnessed with Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Please know that not every answer is expensive. Some of the solutions are easy, and I thank our Swedish counterparts for walking us through their success and the things they tried but didn't work. I look forward to putting the knowledge we gained to the work with the residents of Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, and the state of Maryland. It truly was, and I will say that for the two councillors here, a transformative, life-changing trip for all of us, and we were so happy that we could share that with Annapolis through the Capital Gazette, and it was just great having someone firsthand there as a journalist covering the story, and I think we wore her out because we did a lot of things in a short space of time. While we were away, Acting Mayor Brooke Shannemeyer got slammed to the mat by Terry Adonis as part of Hispanic Heritage Month. So clearly the city was in safe hands while I was away. This was a festival that was held at the Pitmoyer Rec Centre. He was playing the heel, trying to shut down a Lucha Libre wrestling match, calling it too trashy for Annapolis. Here's the photo. And I may add, this was all in good fun and no official injuries were reported from Alderman Shannemeyer, even though it looked really, really painful if anyone saw the video. Last week, the United States Naval Academy Alumni Association hosted their annual Founders Day event at Flugel Hall. We're happy to celebrate the 179th birthday of the Academy and the 249th birthday of the US Navy. I thank Acting Mayor Brooke Shannemeyer for the city's presence at the event, showcasing a strong partnership between the Academy and the city. And also, I know it made you proud, Alderman Shannemeyer, because your granddad would have really been proud to see you up there. So happy birthday to the US Naval Academy. I want to acknowledge the work of the Annapolis Police Department in making a quick arrest in the shooting death of 59-year-old Alison McIntyre on October the 4th in the parking lot of Bywater Road and Forest Drive. Annapolis police officers were able to quickly identify a suspect and put out a tag number and make and model of the suspect vehicle. Police put the information out to the public, and within a few hours, SWAT moved in and made an arrest without incident. So we have an amazing police department here. We're very proud of the work they do to keep our community safe. We also have a few events happening in the city in the coming weeks. On Saturday, October 19th, the annual Community Rummage Sale at Pitmoyer from 8 a.m. to noon, where you can find pre-loved sports equipment, home furnishings, and more. The cost is $20 to reserve a spot at this event and $25 if you need a table and chair. From 10 to 5 p.m. on Sunday, October 20th, the Maryland Avenue Fall Festival will take place. It's so beautiful on Maryland Ave, with performances throughout the day and always popular Halloween Pup Parade at 2 p.m. And that's all day on Maryland Avenue between State Circle and Prince George Street. The city's NAM team will host a community event session on October 23rd at the Pip Moyer Rec Center. There will be a focus on overdose awareness, Narcan training and resources, and refreshments. The event is free and it starts at 5:30 p.m. 2 fall events will take place on Saturday, October 26th. The first is the Fall Harvest Festival at Pip Moyer from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the second is our annual Day of the Dead Festival from 3 to 8 p.m. at Maryland Hall with Sugar Skull face painting, performances, and of course, delicious food. This Saturday, October 19th, Annapolis will commemorate the 250th anniversary of the burning of the ship Peggy Stewart, a first gathering at Hammond Harwood House, followed by a drone show over City Dock sponsored by Fleet Reserve. The burning of the Peggy Stewart was Annapolis's Tea Party. In 1774, angry mobs forced Anthony Stewart to burn his own ship, the Peggy Stewart, because Anthony paid the tea import tax. Stewart attempted to sell the payment as a humanitarian gesture due to the 50-plus indentured servants on board who disembarked in Annapolis, but the angry mob forced Stewart to row out to his ship and set it on fire. That didn't calm the mob, who, back on land, burned him in effigy. Stewart eventually returned to England and Maryland and joined the other 12 colonies in creating the United States of America. Happy 250th Annapolis. And the last item for tonight is the 2024 election is coming up, if any of you are not aware, on November 5th. To clarify, Annapolis municipal elections are next year, so we're all safe, in 2025. In the next few weeks, we'll cast our ballots for President, U.S. House and Senate, Maryland judges, Anne Arundel County School Board, plus some ballot measures. First deadline to note is October the 15th. That's tomorrow. If you need to register online to vote or change your registration, you can do it online at elections.maryland.gov. You can also register in person at your polling place. You'll need to bring proof of residency and identification. Early voting starts Wednesday, October 23rd. In Annapolis, the early voting site is the Pip Moyer Rec Center, which does amazingly multiple things, aside from working out. The daily hours will be from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then through October 31, Anne Arundel County has a handy online tool for checking wait times before you go out to vote. Visit aacounty.org and use the keyword early voting. And lastly, the deadline to go online to request a ballot is October 29th. Then we've got Election Day on November 5th, with polling locations open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. That was a long newsletter, so thank you everybody for listening. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is report by committees.
Alderman Gay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I just was thinking, I have two quick updates, but I just was thinking, because we did the proclamation tonight for Suicide Awareness Month, which was fantastic. It's also, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And the city council, this fiscal year, we passed $5,000 in the city budget to create an event and spread awareness around domestic violence. Obviously, the individual that was in charge of that is no longer working with the city, and so I will look forward to hopefully working with the staff to make sure that we actually use that funding and have that event, and hopefully in partnership with this organization that's doing great work around mental health awareness. And so throwing that out there, our committee met at a special meeting today at 5 o'clock, and we passed R4424 with amendments from both the Rules of City Government Committee as well as the Housing and Human Welfare Committee. So thank you.
Thank you. Alderman O'Neill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. The Transportation Committee met last week on Wednesday. We recommended favorably O1624, O2524. We had a general discussion about transportation where Gott's Garage and Knighton Garage were discussed with their new gateless parking. And hopefully people have been able to utilize those two garages and figure out how easy it is to go in and out of those. We also talked with the parking contractors about more signage telling people how to get their 2-hour free for city residents. And then we had an update from our Department of Transportation Director, Marcus Moore, on the micromobility and the usage of that. And it seems to be growing, and it is a good thing. So micromobility, utilize it. It's somewhat like Uber. It doesn't come quite to your doorstep, but very easy to get from point A to point B within the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Environmental Matters Committee meeting, I wanted to update you on one of the things we discussed with staff, because we have received some feedback from the public with some concerns about the gas-powered leaf blower prohibition. And so what we've done is staff has done extensive research on other jurisdictions as far as how they're handling that transition, and including Baltimore City, who just passed their own ban. So they now join Montgomery County, ourselves, and Washington, D.C. in the area. So what staff is looking at and the committee discussed was some kind of financial assistance to residents and make sure it's distributed evenly throughout the wards, but also financial assistance to businesses. And so that'll be rolled out hopefully hopefully right along with the effective date for the legislation, which will be January 1st. So just keep your eyes out. We'll probably bring some kind of fund transfer proposal to the council to try to get that done.
Thank you. Alderman Finlayson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Rules and City Government Committee met on October 4th. We had several appointments that were postponed because the folks were not able to attend. We did approve or gave a favorable recommendation to Mr. Liam Mercer, recommended him for the Board of Supervisors of Elections. As far as legislation is concerned, we discussed O1324, Planning and Zoning, expanding daycare. We gave it a favorable recommendation. O624, citywide prohibition on drive-through windows. We postponed action until our November 1st meeting. O1224, Maritime Industry Economic Development Fund. We gave a favorable recommendation. O1724, O1824, and O1924 were all pieces of legislation related to elections. We gave favorable recommendations for all three of those ordinances. And O2024, election, surplus funds, and reporting deadlines, we postponed action until our next meeting. R4424, the fund authorization for Housing Authority of the City of Annapolis, we gave a favorable recommendation. In addition to the legislative action, we heard a report from the Office of Community Services, which we formed only, I guess it was 3 short years ago. And what we discovered in the course of the discussion was the fact that there's nothing in the city code that speaks to exactly what their charge is. While we know what our intent is for that department, we have some work to do to make sure it meets the needs of the original intent. We also heard a report from the city manager's office on space in the city. We've heard lots of discussion about the need for office space, and we know that there's discussion in the works now about renting a space on Shaw Street. So we received a preliminary copy of that study, and I would suggest that you all take a few minutes and look over the findings from that study. That ends the Rules Committee action. Our next meeting will be on Friday, November 1st at 1 o'clock here in council chambers. All are invited to attend.
Thank you. Alderman Schneidermeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Economic Matters will be meeting on October 14th at 5:30, which is different from our usual start time. I'm sorry. October 17th at 5:30. 16th. Oh my goodness, I'm having difficulty. Take two. Economic Matters will be meeting October 16th at 5:30 p.m., which is different from our usual start time of 6:30. Our previous meeting was on September 23rd, and all our colleagues are welcome to join. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Pendel-Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Safety Standing Committee was scheduled to meet on October 7th, but the meeting was canceled due to no quorum. But also, we had a very intensive event with the Office of Emergency Management last week that required a lot of hours and a lot of hands-on. So the next meeting is scheduled for Monday, November the 4th at 4 p.m. here in council chambers.
Thank you. Alderman Huntley.
The Finance Committee had our most recent meeting on October 2nd, and we postponed the tenant displacement fund until our next meeting, which will be at its regularly scheduled date, but will be starting at 11 a.m. because we thought FEMA was going to be here. Turns out they're not, but we recommended favorably the Maritime Industry Economic Development Fund and some changes to the special residential parking permit renewals, so you'll be able to renew your permits at a time that makes sense rather than arbitrarily on July 1st. And we also favorably recommended a bill to streamline some of our permitting authorities and hopefully make that a little bit easier. Also, one of the things I was particularly proud of in our last meeting, we were able to really tease out some details about funding for Brewer Hill Cemetery and hopefully make it easier for some of those projects to move forward, just get everybody on the same page. So excited for that, and we'll have hopefully a pretty short meeting on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is comments by the general public.
Right. So, first person signed up to speak has a long name. And apologize if I get it wrong. John? You got it. Thank you, John. Oh, Steve Conn, right? Sorry. Printed. I like that.
I'm a current resident of Annapolis in Eastport and a future resident of the village at Providence Point on Forest Drive.
And just the street number would be great. Thank you. Name. Thank you.
Okay, all right. My wife Ethel right here to my right in black and orange grew up here, and she is a very proud graduate of Annapolis High School. She became the daughter-in-law of the Naval Academy's legendary men's lacrosse coach of the 1960s, Willis Bilderback, whose name is enshrined on the exterior wall of the Navy Marine Corps Stadium. You can see it. And she spent most of her career working for the Anne Arundel County school system. Both of us experienced the loss of a beloved spouse in our 70s. When I was fortunate enough to meet Ethel, I was living in Columbia, Maryland, and it became very apparent to me very early in our relationship that she did not want to spend the rest of her days anywhere else except Annapolis. Hence, the prospect of moving eventually from her home in Eastport, where we now live, to a brand new continuing care retirement community on Forest Drive, that helped to seal the deal for our marriage. Now, I'm sharing this with you because I believe Ethel and I represent the kind of senior citizens who want the village at Providence Point to move forward. Many of us are like Ethel, who have invested most of their lives in this community. And we hope to continue to do so as volunteers, as patrons of the arts, and regular customers, at the restaurants and shops in Annapolis. Therefore, we are deeply frustrated by the frivolous lawsuits of the Crab Creek Conservancy that are meant only to delay the construction of a project that is very near and dear to us. Now, the scripture says, "Teach us all to number our days." Today just happens to be Ethel's birthday. And we are people at an age who have good reason to count the time we have left here on this earth. Like Ethel and me, we also do not want to live anywhere else than in this community right here. Therefore, we are here, and I am here to ask you respectfully to adopt a formal resolution of this city council that endorses your own planning commission's decision to allow construction of the village at Providence Point to get underway. All of us, to be sure, must await the decision of the appellate court. But in the meantime, a resolution will show members of our community, some of whom are uninformed or misinformed, where you, as our elected leaders, stand with respect to this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Next up, John Stephen. Oh, so thank you. So did I miss Stephen? Sorry, Stephen. Up next. Thank you, Stephen. Sorry. No worries. I apologize. It's printed and one's written. So thank you for being here. Thank you.
I apologize. And I had come last week, but in the middle of our sorry, yeah, light screen. So I apologize for interrupting your flow. There was last week where I was signed up, or last month, but there was a lot of our disenfranchised neighbors from the Fourth Ward that were very passionate about their cause. And I didn't want to get up to talk about pickleball, but guess what? We're going to talk about pickleball. So I hope that they don't build pickleball courts at Providence Point, because we play in the mornings with so many of our elderly friends and neighbors out there.
And Stephen, if you just give your full name and address.
Stephen Kahn, 1111 Van Buren Street.
I'm all in for pickleball. You know that.
We've seen you there many times. So what I'm here tonight to ask for is to offer you an opportunity to increase our happiness metric. Really simple, right? Truxton Park, we've got 10 dedicated tennis courts, only 6 non-lighted pickleball courts that are permanent. We go in the mornings and the evenings. We just finished up about 6:30 or so tonight. Truxton Park, though, mandates that there are only days based on an odd number of day or an even number of day that pickleball can occur on the 4 tennis courts that are painted to be hybrid courts. This is hearsay. I'm not an organizer of Annapolis Pickleball Club or a Truxton Park staff member or anything like that. But I've heard from fellow pickleball players that if we were to set up our auxiliary nets on the hybrid courts on even or odd number days, I don't know which one it is, or too confusing the Truxton Park rules, that the police would be called on us. And we all laughed and said, the police called on people trying to exercise? How ridiculous. So what I'm here asking is for an executive order, right, to increase our happiness metric by making play on the courts, both the 6 dedicated pickleball courts and the 4 hybrid tennis courts, which would provide 8 more courts on a first come, first served basis, which is common sense. I have what I call Exhibit A, which is a picture from this past Saturday showing 40 plus people waiting to play pickleball on only those 6 courts. Meanwhile, the 10 dedicated tennis courts, only 2 of them were occupied. So where we could have set up those auxiliary nets, allowing 8 more courts for play, we weren't allowed to. And that's ridiculous. If the city wants people, suicide prevention, happiness metric, whatever it is, let us use our facilities as demand warrants. So I would ask the Parks and Recs Committee or whoever has oversight over our colleagues that make these rule up at Truxton to engage common sense and allow play take place whenever demand is out there. So that's that. Also asking for a lighting update on those 6 dedicated pickleball courts.
I'm just texting the director now to find about the lighting updates.
Appreciate it.
you.
Any reaction on the executive order allowing common sense to mandate first come, first served, demand-based instead of odd numbers you can, even you can, or something that nobody can understand anyway?
I think there has been some movement on that, and I can talk to you offline about that. So, yeah. Thank you.
Because we would like our happiness metric increased.
And Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, as a part of that, I just also would, this picture makes me think, I appreciate an update on the traffic calming, the parking, the stop signs that are all supposed to be. I mean, if you have 40 people, that parking lot is so small, and we have residents complaining all the time about the traffic there. And so if you open up 8 more courts for pickleball, you're going to have more traffic. And so not putting the cart before the horse would be great.
Okay. Thank you.
May I offer a point of clarification? Those tennis
Nope.
courts are already there. It's just
Yeah.
for me to be able to set up and play.
Okay. Thank you.
You're already out there.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Next up is Carol Bennix. Thank you. Please come forward.
Hello, my name is Carol Biddix, and I am a depositor of the Village of Providence Point. My husband Kenneth and I moved to Annapolis in 1976 with our 3 young sons. They attended Annapolis Public Schools through the 12th grade. They attended college, they got married, they moved back to the area and raised our 10 grandchildren here. Of those 10, 8 are living in the area, have jobs, and are contributing members to this community, which we love. Annapolis has been my home for almost 50 years, and I too wish to remain here. My family is nearby, as are my friends, my church, my hairdresser, my mechanic, the shops, the restaurants, everything I'm used to, and I want to stay. My father died 2 months after my mother had a debilitating stroke, and it fell to my husband and myself to oversee my mother's care. For 4 years in 4 different facilities, we reacted to changing circumstances rather than implementing a plan set in advance. From this, we learned how very important it is to arrange for long-term care by having a plan in place ahead of the need. As an executive in the waste management industry, my husband Kenneth was very active in seeing that our environment was looked after. He frequently testified before the state legislature and many local bodies, including this one, regarding preservation of the waterways and public lands. He was overseeing the restoration of the Maryland side of the C&D Canal to prevent further silting into said canal. Anyone interested in the health of the Chesapeake Bay has probably heard of the Oyster Recovery Partnership. My husband was on the first executive roundtable that helped make that project what it is today. He was a licensed captain and an avid sportsman who loved nothing more than sailing, fishing, crabbing on our extensive creeks and in the bay. For 25 years, he volunteered countless hours with the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, teaching our sons and hundreds of others to respect the environment through hiking, camping, performing cleanup projects, and minor restoration projects, while emphasizing the importance of leaving no trace behind when in any kind of wilderness or public lands. All of this was done here in our greater community of Annapolis. More than 12 years ago, after attending a couple of public informational meetings, we gave National Lutheran Homes our contact information. With our experience overseeing my mother's care, we appreciated that National Lutheran Homes has to offer seniors and impressed with their care of the environment. 3.5 years ago, several years after my husband died, I signed a contract with National Lutheran Homes to live at the Village of Providence Point. As a widow, I felt advanced planning was even more important. However, none of this can happen so long as the Crab Creek Conservancy continues to hold our future hostage with their multiple appeals, all of which have been dismissed. They have repeatedly declined to meet with National Lutheran Homes to discuss face-to-face what their ongoing concerns are. All the depositors are being denied access to a community that will provide a safe, engaging, and comfortable homes for this next chapter of our lives, not to mention peace of mind to our families. I encourage the council to pass a resolution in support of the Planning Commission's decision to allow the construction of the Village of Providence Point, as it would be a welcome addition to our greater Annapolis community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Tony Ireland.
Yes, please the board verify when you're here to speak regarding the residential vessel resolution.
It's been pulled, but, and there will be a public hearing on that as we move forward, but you've come tonight, so.
We were thinking of doing this in that sequence. We were going to between projects. Is that okay?
That's great, yeah, just identify yourself each time and your address, and then, thank you.
Hello, my name is Eddie Esworthy.
I'm a liveaboard guy. I'm on the team. Just to let you know, that's how I came here.
I live at 301 4th Street, Pier 4 Marina. And I have lived aboard there for 23 years. And a few of us here, as just mentioned, would like to provide some citizen input with respect to the recent house barge liveaboard bills. Annapolis's existing law on house barges has been on the books since 1984. It prohibits barges over 46 feet. It defines a house barge in a way that makes sense, as boats not primarily designed for self-propulsion. Under this law, barges under 46 feet must seek a permit. They must be docked at marinas with over 50 slips and not take up more than 2% of the slips there. 2 parking places must be provided for each barge, and all this sounds fairly reasonable. So why is this an issue now? 2 marinas have brought this issue to the forefront when they tried to create tourist lodging on barges. First, Butler's Marina, a marina with less than 50 slips, brought in a 53-foot barge to use as an Airbnb. Second, Eastport Yacht Center brought in an Airbnb barge, but the city wouldn't give them a permit application. They were told that maritime districts prohibit barges for residential purposes. This is strange, as nobody using these barges intended to use them for residences. Both proposals appear to be for Airbnbs. As such, both should be subject to existing laws regulating Airbnbs. This includes enforcing existing noise ordinances, size and permitting laws, and discussing with the community to balance the neighbors' concerns with the marina owners' business ideas. I would like to note that we on Spa Creek hear the noise of watermarks, booze cruises, the yacht club's weddings, the concerts at City Dock, and the mega yachts partying charter guests every weekend in the summer, but this is part of living in a vibrant tourist city. The task force legislation focusing on residential vessels is targeting the wrong issue. Liveaboards are different population entirely. There is no surge in our numbers, no problems with noise or derelicts. We don't block the view. We live on normal recreational boats just like the next guy. We are taxed and regulated by our marinas, insurance companies, DNR, and other established regulatory bodies, and have been for decades. I pay a sizable slip fee for which my marina owner uses to pay property taxes, just like any renter on land, and my marina owner pays over $31,000 annually. This bill seems to be much ado about nothing. Just focus on the Airbnbs, please. Work on balancing the desires of the marinas who want these barges with the neighbors' concerns through small tweaks to existing house barge law. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's Tony Ireland? Yeah.
No.
Oh, sorry.
No. We switched it up.
Okay.
I'm Eddie Esworthy, Pier 4 Marina.
Thank you. Please state your full name. How you doing, Mary? Good?
Hi, Mary O'Brien, and I've lived at 301 4th Street for the past 15 years on my American tugboat. I am head of finance at a nonprofit where I manage a $6 million budget. I'm committed to building an inclusive and vibrant city, and I've volunteered much of my free time towards working on that. 49 full-time residents live on boats at the 15 marinas in the city that allow liveaboards. In the past few weeks, I have talked to 20 of these. They are registered voters. Each one lives on a recreational boat, either a sailboat, trawler, or other power boat that they enjoy taking out on the weekends, just like any other boat owner. No one I've talked to lives on a house barge. Most are middle income or retirees. One is retired from the State Department and serves as the president of the Chesapeake Racer Cruisers Association. Another is a current Leadership Anne Arundel participant. Another has lived aboard most of his adult life, including on astronaut John Glenn's yacht, which he maintained. And that's how we came to Annapolis. There are two significant distinctions between liveaboards and homeowners. One, we rent tiny patches of water, and two, the value of our boats decreases rather than increases like your homes, which we gladly accept for the benefits of living aboard. Our hefty slip fees pay the property taxes on the marina, metered water, and trash collection, etc. Liveaboards are important members of the boating community. We take care of other boaters and the marinas where we live. I call when alarms go off, retie lines in storms for neighbors who live far away, chase away teenagers stealing booze from coolers, and in one case, even helped my marina owners run about from sinking. The liveaboard community is taxed and regulated carefully by our marinas, who require insurance for liability reasons, insurance companies who require marine surveys, DNR, the Association of Yacht and Boat Council, who set boat building regulations, and many more. In addition to the Maryland sales tax of $16,000 I paid upon purchasing my boat, I also pay $8,000 a year in slip rent, $1,200 a year in liveaboard fees, $2,000 per year in electricity, about $3,400 a year in insurance, and hundreds in periodic marine surveys to satisfy my insurance company. If the City Council wants to address concerns related to house barges and similar boats rented to tourists, then please apply short-term housing regulations to them and not add any additional burdens to the liveaboard community. I respectfully ask the City Council to revise the task force's resolution's focus to short-term rental barges. Thanks for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Madeline Vachon. I live at 4914 West Chalk Point Road down in West River. My name is Madeline. I'm 35 years old. I'm a voting resident of Maryland, and I'm the operations manager at Severn Sailing Association here in Eastport. I had been a liveaboard on and off for about 7 years total between 2013 and 2021 in both Massachusetts and Annapolis, Maryland on my 38-foot sailboat. As a full-time sailor, United States Coast Guard Master License Captain, Inshore Offshore Delivery Captain, Junior Sailing Program Director, and Women's Sailing Coach, I chose to move to Annapolis in October of 2020 due to the amount of potential job opportunities here for me. Being able to continue to live aboard my boat was a selling point for moving here, and I happily settled into a small marina in Back Creek where I felt safe, secure, and close to town. Although I have since moved to West River in southern Anne Arundel County, I enjoyed living aboard in Annapolis, and I still participate in several local regattas on my sailboat. At no point in my time living aboard here did I see any vessels that I would consider derelict or unsightly. I have traveled through every state on the East Coast via sailboat, and I strongly believe the Annapolis officials have kept the waterways here clean and clear of any boats that may become troublesome if left unnoticed. I never had any issues with neighboring liveaboards being loud, unkempt, or rude, nor do I have any liveaboard friends who have had any issues with their neighbors. Folks who live on boats, in my experiences, tend to be minimalists who enjoy the serenity of a quiet marina in the morning and the beauty of a good sunset. Most are extremely handy as well, as it takes a fair amount of work to upkeep a boat. Liveaboard communities help marinas keep clean and other vessels keep safe. As a quick example, shortly after I moved into my marina, a non-liveaboard vessel at a neighboring facility caught on fire. The first person to respond was a liveaboard who called 911, turned off the electrical breakers, and quickly quelled the flames before they could spread across to nearby boats within the marina. As a liveaboard, I have aided my neighbors by adjusting lines in acceptable tide cycles, furling in sails that actually come undone, and closing the occasional hatch when rainstorms pop up. It's the overwhelming majority of caring folks in this community we should be highlighting, not the opposite. In short, I do not believe liveaboard should be included into a broad spectrum rule against folks who live on boats, specifically Airbnb-style house barges or charter boats. These are two completely different schools of thought in the boating community, and it would be truly a shame to shoo away sailors in one of the largest sailing communities in the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tony. Thank you.
Yes, good evening. My name is Tony Ireland. I'm also a liveaboard, although it's only about 5-6 months a year, and I spend my summers in warmer climates. But I have lived and worked and voted in the Annapolis area for over 20 years, and I've been operating classic sail charters, independent small charter sailing business in Annapolis since 2009. I'm an Army veteran and graduated with honors from Middlebury College in Vermont. I worked for over 30 years as a technical and management consultant in both private and federal government sectors. At one time, I served as a program manager at the National Security Agency at Fort Meade, and I've held top secret special compartmented information clearances. I'm a liveaboard. I'd just like to make a few comments regarding the proposed draft work products that we saw. I won't be telling you about how great liveaboards are. My focus is as a consultant looking at the work product, and I just have a few comments related to that. Particularly this resolution 4624, as well as the definitions that were listed in section 1502.030 of the ordinance 1424. I'll just limit my comments right now to things that I don't find in these resolutions, since I think you all have, can all access them, the hard copies. But some of the things we don't find in the resolution is we don't see any data or any analysis of any data that identifies any problem or inequity that would be mitigated by a slip tax. We don't see this data or any analysis of the data that identifies any problem or inequity that would be mitigated by slip tax. We don't see any identification or analysis of the extra costs of harbor maintenance or marine infrastructure that would be attributed to residential marine vessels. We don't see any definition or requirement for any work product that would be produced by the task force that would help guide the community in making decisions. We don't see any time frame or budget for this research effort. We don't see any process for reviewing or commenting on the results of this task force. We don't see any acknowledgement of the property taxes and other services paid for by marinas that are funded by our ever-increasing slip fees. We don't see any identifications of the costs of the city services that are received but not paid for by slip holders in their current lease agreements. To summarize, this resolution looks like a solution, a slip tax, in search of a justification for a problem that is perceived, but one that is neither clearly defined nor supported by any evidence. So now moving forward to the definitions, so I have a few more minutes. I've probably run over my 3 minutes already. A couple key definitions that do not exist in the definition section. One that struck me as interesting was there's no definition of residential marine vessel, which is the title of the resolution. There's no definition for bed and breakfast chartered vessels. What exactly does that mean? More generally, however, the current list of definitions for the new terms I find just amateurish at best, and at worst, these definitions purposely obfuscate to mask an agenda. For example, when houseboats are treated as being synonymous with liveaboards, our lexicographer authors of this resolution are confusing a thing with how a thing may be used. Just because one can use a baby carriage to carry groceries, a baby carriage is not a grocery cart. So we need to look at this very carefully, and how we use language is going to help us think better and come to better understanding when we address this topic in your future task force. So at the end, I just had a couple quick recommendations. One, you've already done. Discard the current resolution as currently written. And my other last recommendation is that any future task force should be given a limited scope to address houseboats and a limited charter to collect data, analyze the data, develop clear and more workable definitions, include an analysis of all relevant costs and revenues, and identify options for managing the houseboat market, as opposed to proposing a slip tax and then look for reasons to implement it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Are you guys doing your own sequence? Please come forward. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Tom 10 Derrick, 1783 Forest Drive.
Sir, could you speak up?
Yes, Tom, 10 Derrick, 1783 Forest Drive.
Thank you.
I'd just like to address some of the particular details about the proposed legislation, since it's going to be coming back around a little bit later. One quick highlight from before. We did an actual count and called marinas. There are actually 49 liveaboards in the city of Annapolis. We put together a spreadsheet and literally called each and every one. So I think some people might have been under the impression that there was, untapped revenue and lots of other things, but I think it's important to know that this has kind of been a self-regulating issue in terms of the numbers. That being said, some of the details that I wanted to highlight, where the draft resolution talked about the pressing need and the number, what I want to point out is that really that's not accurate. The only issue is the house barges. The other things, being liveaboard boaters and houseboats, are essentially lumped in by a commercial interest to muddy waters, in my opinion, and to try to inappropriately amend the law. And I've seen three ways. Number one, calling the house barges houseboats. They're not boats, even if they stick an outboard on the back. Okay, number two, likening their short-term rental business to liveaboard boaters. Liveaboards have real boats. They're not renters on barges. And number three, calling the business chartering, which is kind of ludicrous. A charter boat first must be a boat, okay, that goes out into the water, and the barges don't. They're not boats. They're trying to avoid laws regarding rentals of non-boats and controversy around Airbnbs. That's something else for other people to decide, but it's important. It's deceptive, and the original draft legislation makes the intent clear. I'll just point out two points in the actual legislation that I think are important. So in line 20, they crossed out language that accurately describes house barges under the old law and substituted an incorrect definition of a houseboat. It's nonsense because houseboats are regular boats that operate on waterways. Gibson houseboats reach 30 knots. But letter C of the draft resolution says houseboats are, quote, not primarily used for transportation on any waterway, which is dishonest, okay? Their purpose is to incorrectly define houseboats to sneak barges into the wrong category to get the barges allowed. So if you look at the draft legislation, you'll see that. And then item number 20 describes the actual category that house barges should have been put into and fall into, but they've made it so that they don't fit. By sleight of hand, they inserted that floating homes, quote, have no motor or steering. These clever folks seek to assert that their barges are boats and not barges because they've slapped an outboard on the back to follow the law that they themselves have essentially helped write under the draft resolution. But we're paying attention. Only one more point here. Item number 23 defines liveaboards not as boaters but vessels used as residences or businesses, which doesn't make any sense. Nobody else speaks of them that way. Finally, let's focus on the real issue, as we've said, about disengaging houseboats and liveaboards from the house barge and rentals and bring back honesty. I think that some folks have taken advantage of the goodwill of the mayor and the council who believed that the legislation was in good faith. And at this point, I think they're trying everybody's patience. I've kind of had enough of the rhetoric. Okay, it seems like the next thing they're going to tell us that they're feeding homeless from the back of the barges. They're expanding access for people, all these good work things. Okay, fine. I don't know about the merits of that. But in the end, if you want to argue for barges, fine. Go ahead and argue for barges. But do so on the merits, okay, of barges, and leave houseboats, liveaboards, chartering, and the underprivileged out of it. Any other social cause that are really non-relevant. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's up next? Please come forward. Yeah.
Point of information.
Yep.
This is not on the agenda.
I know, but people can come and speak on whatever they want.
This is a resolution that's been pulled.
Yes, but it's not a public. They're allowed to come and speak on the subjects they want anytime, and then we will have a public hearing when we get to it.
I promise I'll be short and concise and to the point. So my name's Rich Healy. I live at 7364 Edgewood Road. Came to Annapolis at the end of '97, had moved back from Europe, had started sailing. My sister said, you might like Annapolis. It's like a little European city. You can walk around. It has all these, boats. So I moved here and wound up in Eastport. Got into the whole lifestyle here of sailing and really loved it. Then I moved to Highland Beach, which some of you are familiar. It's also on the Annapolis Peninsula for 20 years. and for the last 20 years had a construction business. And that construction business has done little things like build the Highland Beach Town Hall, which some of you may be familiar with. It's a platinum certified green building. It's really nice. So I know a little bit about construction. And I saw aspects of some of the proposed legislation, some of the ideas coming around, where folks were talking about taking the IRC and the planning and zoning and applying the International Residential Code to boats. And as somebody who's been on boats for 20 years, I can only say it's a really bad idea. And I don't mean to diss anybody with that, because inherently it's unsafe, because the same standards that you would have on a boat would not apply on a house, and the same standards you have on a house would not apply on a boat for the various aspects of safety that are relevant to those two very distinct situations. So my whole approach to tonight is just to say, in considering all of the various arguments around this, is to make sure, yes, that there's a proper way of ensuring that things are safe, but there are many regulatory groups that do regulate how boats are built and constructed and how insurance companies and surveyors value it. And the AYBC, the American Yacht Building Council, provides a lot of those standards, just like IRC provides on the land. And insurance companies and surveyors apply those to boats. Marinas require people who have their boats there to comply, to provide insurance. So without some sort of compliance with relevant marine codes, you wouldn't be able to get insurance and you wouldn't be able to keep a boat in Annapolis. And trying to somehow work residential standards into it could be potentially a complete conflict, but it could also be very dangerous as well, because it just wouldn't work that way. That being said, I was looking at my credit card statements, and I spent like almost $1 million on the one credit card at local businesses here last year. So there is an impression that liveaboards are people who can't afford to live here. I watched a lot of YouTube videos during COVID, and when I split up with my ex, unfortunately, and we sold a house, a 4,000 square foot house, a block off the beach in Highland Beach, I just wanted to downsize, and I wanted, that romantic life of living aboard and being able to take the boat south in the winter and come back when I wanted to. And that's why I live aboard. It's not because I can't afford not to. So,
thank you. Thank you. All right, and Jennifer Balducci, my friend, how you doing? Good?
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Jennifer Balducci, 31 Glen Avenue. You guys kind of know me from SOFO, but I'm also here as a physical therapist, and I wanted to speak about 0624. I'm not sure how much you guys have heard from the community or from other business owners, but I just wanted to kind of speak on multiple levels. So I have a bunch of concerns about this legislation. I'm totally for getting people out of their cars. As a physical therapist, I'm all about health and wellness. So I think that's super important. I don't think this is the best way to go about that for a couple of reasons. I have a lot of clients that have physical disabilities, mental health challenges, anxiety, PTSD, immunocompromised, people with small children, and they all rely on drive-throughs to navigate their world in a safe way. And I've had many people express to me when I said that this is a proposed proposition for our city, that we wouldn't allow new ones. Lots of concerns from my clients and the community. So I just wanted to vocalize my concerns there. And it's kind of borderline, almost like discrimination against those groups. So please, if you're deciding on this legislation, be very careful about the unintended consequences of it. I feel like over the years, we've been big proponents of trying to figure out ways to make Forest Drive safer and to make it more pedestrian friendly. And none of those have been, we haven't had much help there at all. So we're still looking for a sidewalk on Spa. That hasn't happened. I've been asking that for 3 years. I know it's in the works, but we'd love just to see more walkability that way, versus some other suggestions that we've had and we've vocalized. Flashing light crossings for Forest Drive, that hasn't been discussed. That's been done on West Street. What you guys did on Hilltop is great. We don't have any of that on Forest Drive. So I think there's lots of ways to make it more pedestrian friendly and more walkable, which we don't have any of in the SOFO corridor right now. But please be careful about this type of legislation for the unintended consequences. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jen. Thank you.
Very briefly, may I just ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you hear from your clients that particularly that they want there to be more drive-throughs, or just that they don't want there to be fewer drive-throughs?
They don't want them to be eliminated for future options. And Forest Drive actually, so there aren't a whole lot of current drive-through situations for like banking. There's, two pharmacies right now for picking up prescriptions. And, during COVID, drive-throughs were invaluable. They kept people safe. They kept people working. They kept people being able to still utilize business services in a safe way, especially if they're immunocompromised or they're older. So all of those things have been vocalized to me. And I just think that there might be better ways to make things more walkable.
Thank you. And Alderman Schneidermeyer just had a question. So this is, public testimony, just letting you all know.
Unrelated to the testimony on the sidewalk on Spa. That is during the study process. It's just because where we would put that takes a lot of negotiation.
I know.
Domain of private property. It takes a long time because we can't put the sidewalk in the public road because we have to prioritize cars above all.
I totally get it, but I'm just pointing out that, there are other ways that we can make our city more walkable that haven't been looked at, and I'd rather see those implemented versus just taking away people's choices and the unintended consequences of those legislation.
Thank you. All right. Did David come up already? David Dodson, was that? Oh, thanks, David. Please come forward.
As with this group, I too would like to speak to Resolution 4624 regarding residential marine vessels.
Thank you. Just give your full name and address and speak into the microphone. Thank you.
Okay. My name is David Dodson. I live at 7310 Edgewood Road at Burt Jabin Yacht Yard. And I would like to make some positive points about the social and economic impact of liveaboards in Annapolis. Liveaboards benefit the people, businesses, and government of Annapolis. They benefit the people by participating in the social life and events of the community. Liveaboards benefit local marine businesses and retail businesses of all kinds. Liveaboards that are Maryland residents contribute indirectly to the city's government revenue. They pay federal, state, and county income taxes, as well as the state sales tax. The Annapolis city government receives 28% of its total revenue from federal, state, and county government transfers. A portion of these transfers comes from the income and sales taxes that liveaboards pay, thus benefiting the city government. So liveaboards pay for the city services that they receive. Liveaboards rent dock space as apartment dwellers rent room space. The rent liveaboards pay marinas helps pay the marina's property tax. Imposing a special tax solely on liveaboards seems unfair and would provide relatively little revenue to the city government because of the small number of liveaboards. If income is the objective, then some other tax base is needed. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward and speak? All right, I declare the public hearing closed. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item is consent calendar.
Okay, could I get a motion for the consent calendar, please?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderman Gay?
Aye.
Alderman Savage?
This is on the consent calendar.
Yes.
Let me read it out.
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Alderman Arnett?
Alderman Arnett?
Absent.
Say aye.
Alderman Huntley?
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill?
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles?
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is legislative action, beginning with first readers. Ordinance O-1024, outdoor dining requirements in Annapolis.
Is there a motion to adopt O-1024 on first reader?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, can we refer that to the Planning Commission, the Finance Committee, Economic Matters Committee, Rules and City Government Committee? Got you there? Alderman Shannon?
Finance mentions?
Yes, yep. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, the next item is O-2324, parking and towing regulations.
Thank you. Could I get a motion? Thank you. Get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We'll refer that to Economic Matters Committee and the Transportation Committee. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Sure, the next item on the agenda is R-4824, restaurant parking lot usage pilot program extension for outdoor dining.
Is there a motion to adopt R-48-24 on first reader?
So
Moved.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I'm hoping this is our last outdoor dining bill.
Probably not.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is second readers, matters. Ordinances O-1324 is the first one, Planning and Zoning Expanding Daycare Act.
Is there a motion to adopt O-13-24 on second reader?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt O-13-24 on third reader?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderman Gay?
Aye.
Alderman Savage? Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderman Huntley? Alderwoman O'Neill?
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles?
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer?
Aye.
Mr. City, well done.
Because we both share.
Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda for second reader is O-1724, elections definitions.
Okay, can I get a motion on O-1724, please?
So moved.
Second, thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Could I get a motion of O-1724 on third reader?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderman Gay?
Aye.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderman Huntley? Alderwoman O'Neill?
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles?
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is ordinance O-1824, elections mail-in voting.
Can I get a motion? Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Could I get a motion on third reader?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderman Gay?
Aye.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderman Huntley?
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill?
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles?
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is O-1924, elections ballot questions.
Can I get a motion?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Could I get a motion on third reader?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderman Gay?
Aye.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderman Huntley?
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill?
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles?
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, sorry. Alderman
I would
Arnett.
like, the Rules Committee heard
these from the chair of the Board of Supervisors of Election. And I'd like to publicly thank them. I think we all should for the level of effort they've put into this. It's really an outstanding job, and they do good work.
And we'd all like to thank you publicly for a thankless job, especially with this upcoming election, so thank you so much. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, the next item on the agenda is O2624, City of Annapolis Purchasing and Procurement.
Is there a motion to adopt O-26-24 on second reader?
Second.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Gay.
Thank you. Using my point of personal privilege here to highlight that I have a procurement that or a bid that I need out. I've asked the city manager's office, I have not heard back yet, for our minority businesses to have this study done so that we can move forward with this funds that we have to invest in minority businesses within the city of Annapolis. The money is there. It just needs to be put out to bid. And it really has nothing to do with O2624, but it is in the procurement office, and I wanted to just use this bully pulpit if I say so in this moment. So thank you.
Alderman Gay, I'd respectfully suggest it does have something to do with O2624 because this ordinance is going to make it so that we can hopefully lighten the load a little bit on our procurement staff, and they'll have more time for excellent initiatives like that.
I wasn't sure if it would be within the range of $25,000, so that's why I was a little, but
we're hoping to make a lot of things easier on them. And then
hopefully. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please let me identify you guys before you jump in. Alderman Arnett, thank you.
Alderman Gay, I would be happy to co-sponsor some legislation that would make that clear, and then we need to work on the budget to make sure that there's a set aside for that.
Thank you so much, and we will get additional clarification Wednesday at our meeting chaired by Alderman Schandelmeyer, so thank you.
And I think you can get with the assistant city manager or the city manager and they'll help move it through. Thank you. All right. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt O-26 on third reader?
So moved.
2624, sorry.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir, Mayor Buckley.
Aye.
Alderman Gay.
Aye.
Alderman Savage. Alderman Arnett.
Aye.
Alderman Huntley.
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles.
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson.
Aye.
Alderman Chandler-Meyer.
Aye. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is resolutions for second reader, beginning with R1424, Health and Safety, City of Annapolis Plastic Bag Reduction Act fines.
Is there a motion to adopt R14-24 on second reader?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir, Mayor Buckley.
Aye.
Alderman Gay.
No.
Alderman Savage.
Aye.
Alderman Arnett.
Go back from Sweden.
Alderman Huntley.
Abstain.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles.
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson.
Abstain.
Alderman Chandler-Meyer.
Aye. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is R3824.
So we're going to table this indefinitely because there is an offer on the property, so it's going to clearly take city resources for something that's not going to happen. So I want to table it indefinitely, but we need a vote on that.
Point of order, if you table it, it'll never come back. You're killing it.
Yes. Yeah.
So not postponing.
Yeah.
All right. So move.
Just clarification from the city attorney. R1424 is passed on final reader. Oh, it's a resolution, so it's, it passed, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Need a second to vote it down. Thank you.
Oh.
No. You got a second or not?
There's a motion to table. You need a second.
Second.
Don't need a second for a motion to table?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, we have
That's second.
Discussion?
Yeah.
You have-
Savage?
Sorry, clarify the motion first?
To table.
To table it indefinitely. Yeah. So kill it, basically.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Better than
Is that a second?
withdrawing. Yeah.
So it's seconded.
Okay, we've got a first and a second. Is it a roll call or not? No.
I would suggest that we just postpone this so that we've had no action on this for a long time. It was only by bringing up the resolution that we got an offer even in on it. So I would rather that we keep our options open by postponing this, making sure that we still have some pressure on this happening, rather than tabling it indefinitely.
No.
So I've got.
So, I mean, we're able to discuss it. So, yeah, I do intend to vote no.
Okay, we can bring it up again if you need to bring it up again if it presents itself. So.
But I mean, my point is, wouldn't we be better off simply postponing it, and then we can still bring it up just as easily, but it is a little bit more of a incentive for folks to act.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Savage?
Well, I mean, the tabling is essentially very similar. We can always put it back on the agenda. If it passes a certain period, then it's completely off the table, I believe.
Tabling takes it out.
No, that's different than withdrawing. So I guess, can we get clarity on the difference between tabling and withdrawing?
This is why I suggest we postpone it, Mr. Chair.
I just got to recognize you guys. Please identify yourself first. Mr. City Attorney?
You have a motion and a second on the table.
I know.
Table this.
I have a question for the city attorney. So what's the difference between tabling and withdrawing legislation?
Well, withdrawing is you'd have to actually put it back on the agenda in a more formal way. Tabling, you can always bring it back and put it on the agenda in the same form.
No. Tabling is different than postponing.
Let's get some order. We have a lot of people.
Postponing would require a 90-day window. You'd have to bring it back on the agenda.
So tabling it, in the City Attorney's opinion, is killing it for now. We can reintroduce it in another format when we're ready, if it presents itself. I'm pretty sure it's a pretty solid offer on the table for it, so it's really not going to come back to us. So.
Mr. Mayor, I haven't yielded the floor yet. Just to get clear, you said 90 days it comes back?
If you postpone it, the code requires it to be brought back in 90 days and put on the agenda.
You mean if it's postponed or if it's tabled?
If it's postponed.
Yes. So
I'm still not clear if we table it, what happens to it over time. We can always...
It dies.
Well, we can always, so presumably we can always add it back on the agenda on second reader.
Any time.
Does that expire after like a year?
At the end of your tenure.
Okay. Okay.
May I be acknowledged, Chair?
Alderman Huntley? Yep.
So I would again say that I think the appropriate measure here is for us to postpone it. I think we saw that gas station sit there derelict for who knows how long. And if we table this, then as Alderman Arnett has reminded us, we're taking it away. Now we could bring it back up, sure, but we have taken it away and we've gone back to exactly the same position that we were at that led to this station sitting there unused. So I would encourage my colleagues here to vote no on this proposal to table it, and instead I will offer an alternative motion to postpone this, and then we must return to it after 90 days, and it keeps a fire under the folks who are trying to negotiate about this and make sure that we don't have this blight sitting in our community.
Thank you. Alderman Shanamai, will you?
I agree with Alderman Huntley.
So I'm just going to, I don't have to accept this. I'm just going to take a vote on it, okay? And we can just establish it now.
The motion's to table indefinitely.
So I'm putting forward a motion to table it.
Point of information.
Alderman
What is
Finlayson.
exactly on the floor? Is it the motion to table it, and if so, to a date certain?
Motion to table indefinitely is the motion.
Table indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
Yes.
So can't a motion, or it says here, if Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
It says here, if members disagree with the motion laid on the table, in this case, I'm looking at page 245, motions to postpone indefinitely. If there's an objection, members can raise an objection, and you need, if more than 2/3 of the council votes in his favor, then we go back to square one and we make a motion to just postpone instead of tabling it indefinitely. So he's made an objection to the motion that was on the floor. So then wouldn't you take a vote on his objection to the motion? I'm confused. So then what do the members in the minority do? if they're opposed.
I'm just saying, you wasted a lot of resources here, because this deal is pretty done, I understand that. So what the effect of was to make the owners of the property act. The actions of this council have made the property owners in New York act, and they are moving forward on a contract now, is my understanding, right? If we really want to bring this back up again, we can absolutely bring it up again. It can be reintroduced, but to put resources into it now, I believe is a waste. But I understand what you're saying. Yep.
Point of
Finlayson,
information.
yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If it is tabled, will that kill the deal if we put a date certain on it? Would the same amount of pressure be applied if there's a specific date, like we bring it back in 2 weeks?
I don't know the intimate details, but I know that the same developers that did stuff on West Street are negotiating with owners, and it's been successful to get them to the table and move this forward. So we can always bring this up again, but we should just take a vote on it, just see where everyone stands. If I'm in the minority, I'm in the minority. That's okay. So.
And I would just say, Mr. Mayor, let's take a vote on it. Point of information, if we vote this down, I will immediately have a motion to postpone this bill.
Sure. And then it'll come back in 90 days, is that right?
Well, or whatever time.
Or whatever time is set.
And could that be?
If no date, it'll have to come back in 90 days. If
So-
no date is set.
So how far, you can set an indefinite date?
You can set, well, you gotta set a date shorter than 90 days. It'll have to be brought.
It doesn't really say that.
Thank you.
No later than 90 days.
All right, so all those in favor of voting to table the motion indefinitely, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no.
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 Okay, can we do
As
a
a
roll
matter of
call, please?
automatic courtesy to Alderman Ward 1.
We're going to do a roll call.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley,
Aye.
Alderman Gay,
No.
Alderman Savage,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
No.
Alderman Hunter,
No.
Alderwoman O'Neill. Aye. Alderman Pendell Charles,
No.
Alderman Finlayson,
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer.
No.
The motion is defeated.
Thank you. Alderman Huntley.
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone R 3824 for 60 days.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor say aye. 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 Thank you. See you in 60 days for the same answer.
Or hopefully not, right?
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is R 4524, procurement fees related to section 608330.
Is there a motion to adopt R-45-24 on second reader?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley,
Aye.
Alderman Gay,
Aye.
Alderman Savage,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
Aye.
Alderman Huntley,
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill. Aye. Alderman Pendell Charles.
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson.
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, the next item on the agenda is Resolution R 4424, fund authorization for housing authority of the city of Annapolis.
Thank you. Can I get a motion on R-44-24?
Second.
Thank you. Is it an amendment, Alderman Savage?
Yeah, I'd like to,
So we'll just move them in order. So Alderman Savage first, please.
like to move Amendment 1.
Second.
Okay, got a second on that? Can you talk me through it?
Yeah, it just adds one paragraph that says the HACA should provide reports to the City Council's Housing and Human Welfare Committee every 6 months after receiving the funds. And it says the reports should outline how the money is being spent and detail the accomplishments made by HACA with allocated funds.
Sounds reasonable. Thank you. Alderman Shannon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When we first heard this in rules, I had some hesitation on it, but after speaking with Director Maddox Evans, she said that this would not add undue burden on HACA, that this is pretty standard for their process. So I think this is a fantastic amendment.
Thank you. Anybody else? So we're going to just vote on them individually. Okay. Did you have a question, Alderman Gay? No. No. Okay. All those in favour of amendment number 1, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Thank you. Alderman Arnett or Alderman Gay moving the next amendment.
So move.
Second.
Second.
You just talk me through it, please. Can you, someone talk us through it? Thank you.
Alderman Arnett's original amendment. I just amended some of the language. Do you want me to? Or you can?
Okay. I'm just seeing this for the first time, so probably not the best person to.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Yeah, Alderman Gay.
I just added to your amendment, Ross, which stated, be it further resolved by the Annapolis City Council that the $500,000 allocated by the City Council for FY25 city budget for HACA apartment rehabilitation is a one-time emergency expense to help address its current crisis and does not commit any future funding. And I just simply added regarding the rental rehabilitation program for HACA, just so that there is no confusion with any other programs that we may be funding with HACA.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions on that?
Pardon me?
Any other questions on that? No?
No, but there is a Rules Committee amendment also, which isn't before us.
Okay. And who's going to bring that up? So we'll vote on this. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right, Alderman Arnett.
So I don't see it here, but at Rules Committee, we made an amendment that pointed out that this was a one-time only funding for this purposes.
Which we just voted on.
I think we just voted on it with some addition from Alderman Gay.
Well,
It's on the bottom of the second amendment.
So it's
okay, never mind.
Good.
It is included in the gay.
Thank you.
So now we have 2 amendments.
Yes. Okay. So let's. Both amendments passed. So is there a motion to adopt R-44-24 as amended?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Alderman Gay.
Thank you so much. Just before passing this, in particularly in light of us coming from a trip that just was an emphasis on quality of life for residents, I'm pleased that we're able to pass this. The funding got out 2 years ago. The administration did a very, very good job of working with Director Jakubiak to put together a policy with HACA. But this is, as I mentioned earlier, the third happiest moment, I think, since I've been on the council, because this is something that we can actually see, and it'll be tangible, and residents will know that we actually care about their quality of life. Really, really want to thank the mayor and his staff, because, you know, in any other administration, I don't think this is possible. The assistance that we're providing for our most vulnerable families, and so extremely happy that we're passing this as a body. So thank you.
And I'm going to give it right back at you, Alderman Gay, because if you hadn't set that money aside during COVID, we wouldn't have the option. So we all thank you, and I'm sure the residents thank you of HACA, our most our residents the most in need. So thank you very much for that. Okay, please roll call. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderman Gay?
Aye.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderman Huntley?
Aye.
Alderwoman Pendle? Alderwoman O'Neill? Aye. Alderman Pendle Charles?
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
The agenda is complete, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Is there anything else for good order? Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I just wanted to briefly mention some good news. As you know, I'm a member of ICMA, the International City County Management Association, and I have been for 30 years. I'm on the Global Engagement Committee, and if you recall, about a month or two ago, we had a couple of fellows through ICMA, Ann and RAP, Ann was from Indonesia and worked with our deputy city manager for resiliency, and Rap was from the Philippines and worked with Marcia Patrick, who is basically our deputy director of public works. Part of that exchange program is the possibility that one of our people could go overseas at no expense to our city, and it's a very competitive process. And we received this letter back in September that I wanted to share with you that makes me really happy. In my stage of my career, nothing makes me happier than to see the people I work with succeed and be able to enrich their lives. And this is the letter through our State Department. It went to Marcia Ann Patrick. Thank you for your support and participation in the Wasili Professional Fellows Program. As you're aware, the fellows were required to submit a follow-up on proposal to take place in their home country or virtually. On behalf of the U.S. Department of State, Bureau of Education and Cultural Affairs, American Councils for International Education is pleased to notify that you, Raf, and Marcia have been selected for a wonderful opportunity to travel to Cambodia and participate in the Wasili Fellows Program. And so Marcia Patrick is able to represent our city. She's going to go over there with RAP, and they were working on a zero waste program. Here was the basis for RAP and both coming. And we found that out, and it's really a joy to see that work out for Marcia. And I just wanted to share it because it made me happy when I saw that.
Thank you. And Marcia's been here how many years?
She has been here, I think, well over 30 years, 30 to 35. And she's always been a very hard worker, but a very kind of quiet. And I've never seen her more engaged and happy than when this opportunity came forward. And so it really is cool to see it work out. I've been involved in 4 of these Wasili Fellows before, and in Charles County, someone else was able to go to Indonesia. And it just, as the mayor was mentioning earlier, and I really applaud the efforts of exchange and information gathering that he has been pushing and doing. It's just great to see our fellow employees be able to enjoy this and take something with them the rest of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman O'Neill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. This weekend is the burning of the Peggy Stewarts, and it is also coinciding with the Annapolis 250 Commission's first debut into getting the public aware of what's going on with America 250 in 2026. And we will have a table on Pinckney Street, and we will have IB students from Anne Arundel County Public Schools. They're doing 30-second videos of people, what does America's birthday mean to them, which we'll be able to share out on our website. But if you're downtown on Saturday, hit up Pinckney Street. There's going to be a lot of different things going on, some reenactments, and a drone show, I believe, is still in the works on Saturday evening that is supposed to be the reenactment of the burning of the Peggy Stewart. But Annapolis 250 is really excited about this launch.
Fantastic. Alderman Shannemeyer.
Thanks, Mayor. I just want to thank you and my colleagues for letting me speak at the 179th anniversary of the Naval Academy on behalf of the city. That was something very personal to me. My grandfather was class of 1958. We lost him last year, so this is something I was very looking forward to as a way to honor his memory. Just a good reminder of the Naval Academy is a key part of my story. It's a key part of Annapolis' story, and it was just a very personal and good moment for me and a good way to honor him. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Could I get a motion to adjourn? And a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.